Hey everyone, it's Caitlin. I apologize for the bit of a different format for this presentation of my project. On the computer I currently have, I don't have the program that was suggested to do this presentation, so I had to think on it, and I realized that Zoom has a feature where you can share your screen with whoever you're presenting to. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. So let me just pull it up here real quick. Okay, here we are. So I did my favorite author project on Kate DiCamillo, and I've titled this presentation as Kate DiCamillo, a Grand Storyteller, because I think she has such a way of storytelling, and it's what draws me into her work, which I'll talk more about later. So let's get started. So I want to start the presentation off by showing a preview of a storybook, a picture book that Kate DiCamillo wrote. And before this project, I didn't even know that she wrote picture books, which is really exciting. I really love her work. So now knowing, because I'm currently a preschool teacher and I want to become an elementary school teacher, so if I'm working with younger kids, it's really exciting to know that I can get some picture books to have in the classroom. And the preview of the one I'm going to show you is definitely going to be added to my ever-growing list of books that I would like to have in my future classroom. It's a really fun one, and it's filled with all the emotions and all the grandness of her chapter books. So here we go. So I really encourage everyone to check out the full version of the book. I wanted to play the whole thing, but it's I think the version I found on YouTube is 12 minutes long. So for the sake of keeping the presentation shorter for you guys, I definitely recommend looking it up on YouTube or going to your local library, seeing if they have it, because it's a really fun book. Very, very fun book with a good message, I think. So to tell you a little about DiCamillo, I found out on her website that she was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She currently lives in Minnesota. She has a dog named Henry, which I thought was really cute. And when speaking about herself, she says, "I write for both children and adults, and I like to think of myself as a storyteller," which I couldn't agree more with. So it's really funny because I learned a lot about Kate DiCamillo in terms of what she's produced. Like I said, I never knew before doing this research that she did picture books. So I think that's really cool. That's something new that I learned about her that I think is really exciting. Another exciting thing I learned, and it's kind of funny actually, is that I knew her during this course before this project as the author of The Tale of Despereaux, which is pictured on the right for you. But she actually also wrote Because of Winn-Dixie, which is pictured on the left, which I read the same time as The Tale of Despereaux. So I don't know if I missed that memo in the 6th grade or I knew and I've since forgotten, and I just relearned it. But yeah, so like I said, I know DiCamillo from her authoring The Wonderful Tale about a mouse named Despereaux. But I found that she actually also wrote Because of Winn-Dixie, and I read both of these books in the 6th grade, and they bring back such fond memories. When I was in junior high, my school did a silent reading time after lunch. It was about, I think it was about 30 minutes long, and my teacher at the time read The Tale of Despereaux to our class during this reading time, and she just like read it out loud, and we listened, and we could, you know, do art or simply listen to the story. And it was really nice. It was really relaxing, and it was really nice because I was in that age where, you know, you're quite not older junior high, but you're not younger elementary. So to have adult like sit down and read a story to you wasn't something that happened a lot, and it was really nice, and it made me appreciate the way that reading can be really relaxing. And then because of Winn-Dixie, we read as a whole class, and that book is just packs all the punches and really gets to you, and in a good way. And Kate DiCamillo was really at that age, and now is a source of inspiration as a writer and also as a teacher, because in my personal opinion, she's the kind of teacher that is, or she's the kind of writer, excuse me, that a teacher wants to have in the classroom, because her work exemplifies so much for literature. And I think is a joy for kids to read, which what teacher doesn't want kids to read? So I think both of these books are just wonderful. And like I mentioned about the picture book at the beginning of the presentation, these two books have all of the emotion and that grandness that I was talking about. You know, they just don't have a beginning and middle and end. They have those things, you know, the bones of a story, but it's such a roller coaster, and there's such drama, and you just get so attached to these characters, and you want them to, you know, make it through. So you become quite attached to her writing, which I think is important for students and for adults too. What draws me to DiCamillo's writing is her sense of adventure and the emotion that she pours into her writing, which I talked a bit about before just now. In my reading world, DiCamillo's stories, Because of Winn-Dixie and The Tale of Despereaux, are some of the books that increased my love for reading. I feel that they are stories that have meaning to young readers and drive readers to come along on the adventure, which, like I said, is important. If kids are hooked on the adventure of the book, they're going to want to continue reading it, and they're going to want to finish it, and they're going to have fun doing it. This is a quote. There we go. Brain freeze there. This is a quote from The Tale of Despereaux. It says, quote, "Welcome to the story of Despereaux Tilling, a mouse who is in love with music, stories, and a princess named P." End quote. And I chose that quote because I think it just shows the magic and the whimsy of The Tale of Despereaux, a little hero of a mouse. So yeah. Next slide here. I included some things that people have written about Kate DiCamillo. For example, quote, "Forgiveness, light, and love, and soup. These essential ingredients combine into a tale that is as soul-stirring as it is delicious." End quote. And this was written by Booklist. Another one is by Publisher Weekly. Quote, "DiCamillo's brisk comic narrative crackles with read-aloud savoriness." End quote. And I thought both of these quotes really sum up her writing. It is light, and it is filled with love, and it's comic, and it's swift, and it brings you on an adventure, and yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful read. And then I also included something that I've written about The Tale of Despereaux. In my opinion, this book is wonderful for many reasons, but one reason that particularly stands out to me are the characters. For example, the fact that the main character, Despereaux, is a talking mouse is whimsical and magical, as I mentioned previously. The fact that he wants to be a hero is extraordinary. I feel that a character like Despereaux is wonderful for young readers because it encourages them to chase their dreams. I think Despereaux is a great role model to have in the classroom for these reasons. So you have a wonderful role model, and a writing style that's going to make kids want to read, and that's a beautiful combination. Another video I have is Kate DeCamillo speaking about herself, so I'm going to go ahead and play that now for you.
I guess when I was in college and professors said, hey, you should think about graduate school, get away with words. And I thought, super, I got away with words. I'm going to be a writer. I'll be rich and famous. And so then I bought a lot of black turtlenecks and started looking sophisticated and world weary. And I spent the next 10 years that way until I realized that I wasn't going to be a writer unless I wrote something. So I didn't actually start until I was almost 30. But I decided that I wanted to do it in my 20s. Sad story. Wasted youth. I worked at Disney World. I worked at Circus World. I worked at a campground. I worked in a greenhouse. And the whole time I said, I'm going to be a writer. But I wasn't writing now. I mean, at the time, I was certainly a lost soul. But all of those kind of jobs at the margin of society were a profound influence on me and became a way of looking at the world. Became an outsider because the rest of my friends were moving along a very prescribed path, and I'd fallen off the track. And so it was actually a good thing. I didn't know that at the time, though, nor did I believe it. It's just like, man, I'm a loser. What a loser. I'm a loser. And then I would say, look down and watch your step, which was my job at Disney. Why would somebody bother to keep on sending stuff out after that many rejection letters? I don't have an answer. It was just, I'd waited so long to start. But, a whole decade of my life went by with me talking about this is what I wanted to do, but not doing it, that I had reached such a critical level of self-disgust that I just wasn't. I didn't want to die saying I think I could have done it. And so since I was doing the work of telling the stories, it was an easy enough thing to then send the stories out and to keep on doing it. So I didn't have to say some 50 years hence, I think I could have done that. Well, I've been in so many writing workshops, writing classes, and to the right of me and to the left of me, there's always somebody much more talented than I am. And what I figured out is they're not willing to go through the rejection, which is enormous, and then the compromise that comes with, editing your work. And so I decided a long time ago that I didn't have to be talented, I just had to be persistent, and that was something that I could control, the persistence. I've always been kind of persistent.
Funding for adlit.org is provided.
I really enjoyed hearing about her influences. That was really interesting. So, a big question I always like to ask myself about books I read for educational courses is, would I have The Tale of Despereaux in my classroom? And I feel that all young people need to be told that they are capable of anything and to learn to believe in themselves, especially at the age that I feel Tale of Despereaux could be read independently. Like, for example, when I was in junior high. So I think this little mouse can be a role model and a hero to young readers. I think it's also a wonderful lesson to show young students that not everyone is as they seem. I think teaching and having this open-mindedness is essential for society. So it'll probably come as no shock when I say that I will definitely have this book in my future classroom and at a home for my future children to read too. I would definitely love to read this to my children when they're small, as like a bedtime story. And I would definitely love to either read this book to my class in the style that my 6th grade teacher did, or I think with older students, it could definitely be a good book to read as a whole class. So here are my works cited for my videos, and then my works cited for the pictures and the text that you saw in this presentation. So thank you for watching my presentation, for reading along my presentation with me, and happy reading to everybody. I hope that you check out Kate's Cameo if you've never checked her work out before. I would definitely say you can't go wrong picking between The Tale of Despero and Because of Winn-Dixie. I think either story you choose to start with is a wonderful choice. And I myself will definitely be checking out more of her work, hopefully this summer. Maybe I'll add her to my summer reading list. So again, thank you for watching, guys, and I hope you all have a very lovely summer, and it's been great working with you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.